Welcome! E aí, galera, beleza? Bem-vindo à nossa comunidade.
Welcome to our community.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is OGC here. Today we have episode 7 on the Art of Conquest episode series. Today we will have an interview with Mr. Toby. Coming up later in the week, we'll actually have another interview with Mr. Chip. So this will be good. We'll be able to get a human perspective and a self perspective. And then next week, we'll actually have Mr. Alberto on the channel. I don't know if many people know, hopefully you do, but Mr. Alberto's helped me out a ton in the past and present for all of the background information for the videos, whether it's putting them together. He's done a ton of translations on videos so people from other countries and other languages can understand the videos. And also, if you guys don't know about his channel and you speak Portuguese, maybe Spanish, his channel, he does a lot of good stuff. It mirrors this and is part of our community. But anyways, lots of good things to look forward to. But today we have the one and only Toby. So the Toby Nation fans, get excited because we will have a one-to-one interview with the Mr. Toby. So welcome, Mr. Toby, to the channel.
Hello. Thanks for having me, man.
Nice. And for people that might be new to the channel, don't necessarily know exactly who you are, where in the game are you from? How did you end up here? How come you're so good?
I would- I wouldn't say I'm so good, but I would say, I tried the best to bring the maximum of what I have, and that differentiate between like being able to beat people above my core power or being able to lose to below your core power. That's what makes a difference between if you are able to maximize what you have and work with it and just maximizing it, you will be able to do more. And as for I started the game in May 2018, last year, May. So I was on a
Oh
vacation.
wow.
Yeah, it's been almost a year and a half now. I was on a vacation. The game popped up in my ads, so I started playing it. I started in server 1267. I made a lot of Chinese friends. I played with Chinese people. Most of the server was just dominated by Chinese. Then at some point, the server became like very farm server. There's no enemy. There's nothing to do, and I was on the verge of quitting it. But then I saw your videos on YouTube, and I was like, maybe that's a good place to go. At least I would be able to have some conversation with people and just speak in English and all of that. So I paid 30,000 inari to
Oh my
to
God.
and I was like, I have to do it because it's gonna happen before Drake. I want to get engaged in the game more. I was so into it, and I ended up here. Uh, did I miss any other question? Or
No, you nailed that spot on. And I have to ask because from what we've seen of your replays on this channel or from your Clash of Eight since you came here, and just a total side note, I'm super happy that you're here because you are an amazing person. Um, we've primarily seen you doing extremely well with the human race, and I especially with the spearmen at first, although now it's slightly changed. What was your main race throughout time, and what is your favorite race?
that's a good question. I have played only humans at the
Oh
beginning,
wow.
and I played Sylph when it first came out because I just wanted, something new, new patch. I tried them for like I'd say 2 months maybe, and then I went back to humans. I tried Drakens for 2 hours maximum, and then I couldn't deal with all the clicking and all of that. I was like, that's totally not the play style. I haven't played Dwarf ever. I haven't played Lich ever, even though like I feel I want to get to know those races, but I just didn't get a chance. It's a lot of effort. I'm so comfortable with humans. And yeah, I'm all for humans. I don't think I will ever change humans unless they, even when back in days when they used to be like not the game was dominated by dwarves having those mechs and rocketeers. Everyone was playing them, and they are going through them in the void. And I was insisting to finish the void as human. I did finish some stages. They were supposed not to be able to pass them as humans. I finished all of them as humans. I was so persistent and stubborn to continue to play. And yeah, so I remember one of those Imperium that we had, the Chinese committee there told me, if you're able to reach the back line of the dwarf player that was the strongest player, the strongest enemy, we will give you the Imperium. I was like, okay, you got it. And then I prepared whatever I can just to do that. And I actually almost won the fight. Ever since, they made me Emperor twice, and they supported me a lot. And yeah, I believe the human race, the only reason, I mean, the reason I like human race, because they are so versatile. Like you can change a lot of things. It's every single troop of the humans is viable. It's like none of them is just like you don't use them. So you can change a lot of things. And when it comes to spears, the reason I bring spears because I believe that the most important part of the battle or the PvP battle is the first 10 to 20 seconds. That's what's gonna break or make your fight. So if they serve their purpose, which is breaching the enemy line within the first 10 seconds, and then they die, I don't care about them anymore. They have just accomplished what I wanted. So that's why I like spears, because I think they give the extra push to breach the side or whatever you place them. So yeah, I like them and I still use them, and I've been thinking to now I've reduced them to only one spears, one set of spears. But I'm playing around with my formation, so I might commit to them again. But they're definitely I'm not gonna remove them my formation.
that, that, that's awesome. And when I think of Toby, as the whole character, the whole package, um, really the big thing that stands out to me with you is PvP. I don't see you necessarily as somebody that enjoys just farming, or I mean you did super good in all aspects of the game, but the PvP really stands out to me about you. And I have to ask, when creating a PvP formation, what do you build the formation around, or kind of what's your thought process, and how long do you spend creating one formation for PvP?
That's I was hoping you would ask a question like this because and my answer can be like it can take hours to answer you because there's a lot that you can put into formation. And most of my formation, or let's say, like, I would say 95% of my formations are ones I made myself. I don't like to copy formations. I like to come up with my own ideas. And first of all, you have to have a plan. You're going into a fight, you have to have a plan. What exactly you want to do? You cannot just go into a fight and wish that hopefully I win. It doesn't work that way. And when it comes to making a good formation, I break it down to two main things. There are a lot of other factors, but these are the primary things. Number one, and it's the most important thing in my opinion, is hero positioning. I think that I cannot emphasize how important this is for PvP, as your hero positioning. Until you reach a point where moving a hero or any hero, a single tile would affect something else. So you reach a point you cannot even move any single tile of your heroes. That's when you feel comfortable, or you feel you have reached your what you want to make. The second thing is your skills order, like which skill you want to use, and when are you going to use those skills. And I will give you an example that combines these two things. That the most recent example. So having these two things in mind, let's say for the skill orders, if you go into a fight and you just gonna bash your skills and wish to win, it's not gonna work like that. And even if you have like a fixed rotation that you use. Let's say, for example, you use clear hole and then jack spray or whatever, and then deep impact of real. It doesn't work all the time. You have to be dynamic with the fight that you are having, and that comes down to a matter of seconds. For example, if you only start with Cleo's hole all the time, then what if the enemy Rufio stuns your Cleo? What are you gonna do? You're gonna start to think, oh, panic, what to do? This kill is not active. It doesn't work like that because every single second matter especially as I mentioned earlier, in the first 10 to 20 seconds of the battle. So you have to visually see your heroes where they are, what they are doing, what's happening to them, and then make a decision to make. So there is a really you have to be fast. Otherwise, sometimes we all make mistakes because there's a lot of things happening. So PvP for me is the most intriguing thing in the game because all other things you can you can take it slow, but these things you have to act on the spot, and the more you do it, the better you become with it. Where was I? So yeah, I will give you an example. So what happened with me recently, I with the I'm gonna talk a lot, sorry, but just to answer this question, to give it what it deserves. In the latest in the latest Wheel of Fortune, I got a lot of these artifact materials. So I forgot the name of that artifact, the fang looking thing. I had it on Jax with 4 stars, and it was doing well with the 60% damage to hit. But then I got some extra materials that I was able to level it to 5 stars. So I was like, okay, I have to make the most out of it, as I mentioned earlier, most of everything I have. So I wanted to move it to a melee hero to benefit from the production, all of that. So I tried it on Beirog. It didn't perform very well. The latest thing I've tried it on Denji, and it did really good. And I was like, okay, so that's the thing. I had a fight with a very, I would say, respectful, strong player, and I started with Denji ult right away. But I felt like there was a wasted seconds. Like he was still in the back line. He popped the ult. Moved around until he reached to the enemy line, and so I was like, okay, those were like 2 seconds wasted. I won the fight, but then I tried again to use it as a second skill. But when I tried to use it as second skill, he died before I can use it, and it messed up my whole fight. So I had to what to do is to calculate how many seconds this Denji, have to walk to reach the enemy line. So I changed my whole formation, or let's say the power side of my whole formation, to make it work. And this is what I mean by what I mentioned earlier is having your positioning and skill order. They are like in, synchronized together, so to make it work. And to answer the latest thing you asked is how much I spend on my formations. Sometimes I spend hours just looking, literally an hour just looking at my formation, calculating every single thing that I can change to improve it. And as I mentioned, when you reach a point that you cannot move a hero a single tile, that's when you feel satisfied. And then you put it on action, you see where it happens wrong or what goes wrong, and you move from there. And if you lose a fight and then you just say, okay, I lost a fight, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because if you lose a fight, you need to look why you lost the fight. If you just let it pass, then you will never improve. I think that's the way I approach the PvP. If it makes sense.
Absolutely, and you've said so many amazing things. I'm not even going to bother paraphrasing. If people want some of the best words of wisdom, rewind that section and listen to it and ingrain it into your head. But um, you hit on the biggest thing I struggle with, which is panicking during the say the Rufio Sun in the opening. I don't know why I get nervous in PvP, but I realized that
I
I
do
was
get
putting my
it.
cle.
I do get it, especially if like I'm fighting somebody that's stronger than. But I believe I can beat them. I get nervous. But the best advice to give you when you reach those situations, you just have to have a backup plan. Like if this hero dies before I can use the skill, what is the automatic second skill that I want to use or the most impactful on it? while visually and visually seeing where are your hits and all of that. It takes practice, but it is just a lot of mind energy. I mean, if you just, as I said, if you're just gonna go into a fight and just bash your skills and wish you're gonna, you're not gonna reach the let's say the next level.
Absolutely, and I gotta I have to improve on that because I found out recently my Clio and Raxius were placed next to each other, and during a fight with somebody that you fought, they happened to flawlessly beat me because I made this horrible mistake of Clio and Raxius next to each other. They opened up with the instant Raxius stun on both of those, so I couldn't cast the skills. And with no Cleo and no Raxius, I had no idea what to do, and um, it was bad. But to hammer home on what Toby was saying with watching the replays afterwards, Toby said this to me a bunch of times, and I do need to do better with it. But watching those replays and learning from them, there's so much we can gain from the replays, whether it's the small positional things which matter, because one tile difference left or right could mean a totally different pathing for your hero to move, which could make or break the entire battle. But yeah, I always feel bad when I do like the PvP replays from Clash because first of all I'm definitely not the best at this game, so I miss a lot of the small nuances in it. But one fight we could probably dissect for at least 30 minutes just looking at all of the small details.
That's very true. At the end, what you keep saying that you need to improve. Trust me, everyone needs to improve. If you think you know everything, that just shows that you know nothing. Everyone needs to improve. There is no one knows everything and like just got it. Is nobody unless you reach a point that you spend so much money that doesn't matter. But I'm talking about like having those people who are balanced, like they are not, they didn't spend ridiculous money, they didn't spend money, they did. Money is a factor of the game. That subject I don't, I'm kind of itchy about to talk about it. But anyway, so it's, you have to have this mindset that you need to improve. That what makes you improve. Everyone, not just you or somebody else. Just try to mention that.
Absolutely, and I think probably for my last question before we wrap up, you've helped me out understanding artifacts to a deeper level than I thought. Like, and every time I think that I know something, I quickly realize I know nothing, and it's a constant thing. But especially with artifacts, you've helped me out a bunch. What I guess if we start off, what how would you prioritize leveling up your artifacts? I know this is a giant question, which we could spend an hour doing, but it please enlighten us about artifacts because I get a million questions all the time, and it's very hard to answer them because there's so many different artifacts and so many different uses for them at different tiers. But if you have any general advice for people watching with artifacts, I'm sure people would love it.
Most artifacts are really powerful. You cannot discard an artifact as useless. Most of them, if not just for the stats, they are incredibly powerful. And some of them in particular more than the other. And I would say the level 4 of the Fang thing, the 60% damage to heroes, that is important, like so important. I cannot stress enough how important it is. Another one is the 5 stars of the headdress. I forgot the name, main or something. That is also super powerful. Um, and then it comes the question to give to who, right? To which hero? That's another door to open because once you do that, then you need to build things around that gonna change the position of the hero and all of that. But these two stand up for me the most. These two artifacts with their specific stars, and now with the new artifact, definitely important to. It brings a ridiculous damage. This last artifact, the ring. So yeah, artifacts are important. Never think they are just there. they make you so much more stronger in the PvP. Um, I don't want to go into a lot of details into them because all of them are important. Maybe the least important is the one that you summon troop. Um, I forgot the name, but I forgot all the names of the artifacts because I don't. Yeah, but this one was good during. I have it at 3 stars. Was helpful during the abyss, the beginning. Like when you're not strong enough, but you still want to finish those levels, and you spend hours, short by 1 second. These were fun days. At the end, the purpose of the game is to have fun. So it's all adds up together. And then at the end, they give stats. So
That's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for the insight for it. It's I was trying to figure it out, but I think there's 13 different artifacts. Each one has 5 different stars that they could get. So when you start adding in all the different possibilities, even trying to do any sort of videos on them is it makes it a really challenging topic. I guess I could go through each artifact looking at it specifically, but getting hit with questions about where to put artifacts on people's accounts, unless you can see all of the artifacts and all of the rankings of them, it's a very tough question.
I would say to give it what it deserves, or the approach you should, if you want to do that, is taking each out by itself and then just breaking it each by itself. Otherwise, it's just too much, too much to answer. So maybe focus on the most strongest artifacts and then make episode of each one with each level of stars and when it's become viable, when it's still necessary, and all of that. But I don't think you can take all of them. It's just too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot in the main artifacts. Mr. Toby was talking about the Fang one. That's the Blood Maw to 4 stars for the 60% increased damage to heroes, and the main was the other one that he was talking about. But with that, Mr. Toby, thank you very much. Do you have any closing statements? But before we wrap this up.
What to say? I mean, I'd have to say thank you for everything you're doing and for all the effort you're putting into and believe me, it makes the game so much more fun that you're doing something that people are seeing, just yourself. It makes a big difference, at least for. And I would like to thank you really again for all the efforts you're putting into putting these videos and making all the game more something to look for. It makes it gives a little bit more to the game. And I would thank all the house members, those people that accepted me when I moved in. They made me feel like it's a home for me, really. So I feel I enjoy the game much. So that would be.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I don't know how to take compliments, so I'm just gonna say thank you. And your host that you're in, Blood Moon. I don't know anything about it, but it sounds like a fantastic place for people. But with that, guys, this was Mr. Toby with absolutely amazing insight on formations, artifacts, some stuff with heroes. I really look up to Toby in many aspects of the game, if not all of them. So please feel free to write down in the comments. Either thank Toby if you're part of the Toby Nation fan clubs. This is your day, and we'll see more of Toby in the upcoming Clash of Fate championships. Again, we should be in the championships to see it through. In fact, we are. So make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, and we'll have a couple more interviews coming up over the next couple weeks. Take care, guys.